A couple people in my community, the Cool Kids Alpha Club, they've been talking about ICP. This is all they've been talking about. So I haven't really delved deep into ICP this cycle. Last cycle, I was pretty into, what was going on. I know they were being suppressed by like FTX. A lot of things was going on behind the scenes. And it kind of fell off my radar. With this pump that's been happening, as it's been kind of inversely correlated with the rest of the crypto market, as the crypto market has been showing weakness, as we see today, ICP is showing a little bit more strength than the rest of the crypto market. It's starting to come on my radar a little bit more. So I want to just talk about the technicals in this video, and then we're going to have a part 2 where we talk about the fundamentals. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you don't miss that video once we do talk about some of the things that are happening behind the scenes, some of the tech that's behind ICP and things like that. But first and foremost, I'm a technical guy. I want to talk about the technicals. Let's talk about ICP. So right now it's sitting at $6.35. Last week, I think it was, we did get to a high of about almost $10. So we were looking at this level. We got this on our radar. We didn't make a video about it, but it was on our radar, for the community. So I started to draw some lines. I started to do some analysis on ICP, and it came all the way up. We were looking to flip this $10 area here, but we got rejected as the crypto market started to reverse. So it's been inversely correlated. We'll just say the Bitcoin. As Bitcoin has been going up, we see ICP has a pullback, and then when Bitcoin has a pullback, we see ICP getting a nice little pump. So right now, what we're watching is this green line. I feel like as long as we stay above this $6 area, we should be fine for ICP. A lot of people have long-term mindset. I have to do a little bit more due diligence, a little bit more research. But one good thing about ICP is that it survived the bear market, and then now it's trying to make some sort of a comeback. So I like that about that because it did come out last cycle. So a lot of coins haven't even did anything like this. They were here last cycle, and then they were just dead to the world. But ICP is seeming like it's if it wasn't dead, or if people called it dead, it seemed like it may be trying to come back from the dead. So like I said, I'll talk about the fundamentals in part 2 of this series, the ICP series. But like I said, right now we want to hold this $6 area, flip this area, this $8.50 area back into a we want to just break back above there. That's the thing. We got above there, but it was basically a swing failure pattern right back below. So we had a high this cycle back in March of 2024, coming in around $21. We created a lower high here at $15, almost $16, and then we created another lower high, we can say, coming in at about $8.75, coming close to $9. So first and foremost, if ICP can remain strong, what I would love to see, I will say this, like, I don't know if we're in a bear market. I do not know if we're in a bear market, but last bear market, and this is weird. It's not even weird because it's just one of those things. I'll tell you this. There were coins in the bear market that actually performed okay. Like, everything just doesn't go down. Everything just doesn't go to zero, so to say. Some coins did perform well in the bear market. So maybe ICP could be one of those coins. But like I said, first and foremost, we're looking to flip this downward sloping trend line. Like I said, that we've been watching all the way since March of 2024. We had this one. So now if we can first and foremost hold this on a weekly time frame. I'm looking at weeklies right now. I'm looking at all weeklies, and no matter if it's Bitcoin, no matter what coin it is, I'm looking to hold weeklies. If we're holding above some sort of support on a weekly, or if we're holding below some type of resistance on a weekly, that will be the determiner if I'm bullish or bearish, for the medium term or the mid term for a certain asset or a certain coin. So like I said, right now we want to get back above here, hold this as support, and then we can make our way back to this red area, or back to this red resistance that we have coming in at about, we'll say $9.50, coming in to about $10. Once you get back above that, now you hold this as support, and now you can talk about, we have something coming in at about $12, we'll say about $13, and then coming up to this resistance point coming in at about 15.5. And then ultimately, if the market can come, it just depends. If the market can get a little bit bullish, and then ICP can keep a little bit of the momentum that it had, then I could see us possibly getting back up to that $20 area. But like I said, a lot of people have a long-term mindset. A lot of people are accumulating ICP for the long term. So these short-term moves, a lot of them don't really matter to some people. And if we're just looking at things below us, let's actually do this, because we can look at, if you're trying to accumulate ICP, you're like, okay, I don't care if it goes down. I just want to accumulate more ICP because I have a longer term mindset. Push comes to shove, we can probably get it. If all hell breaks loose and we're indefinite, or we definitely are in some sort of a bear market, I would load the boat anywhere between, we'll say, $3 and $4. And if you get lower than that, we did have a wick coming down here when we had that flush out. That was at about $1.15. But I would say anywhere in this area, let me draw it out. Anywhere in this area here, I would be a buyer. If I was a buyer of ICP, if I was a long-term accumulator of ICP, I would love to get it $3 and below. So like I said, ICP does have some pivotal levels above us. If it can, first and foremost, break this downtrend that we started in March of 2024, we had another lower high here, like I said. So if you can break this and get some sort of a push, what a nice run. This is a nice run for ICP coming from the lows of about $2.50. So from the low here, I'm not going to take that wick. I'm just going to take this bottom where we bottomed out, say at about $2.80. And we got up here. It's a 250% move. So from this bottom, going up to our peak here, we got a 255, basically a 255% move, which was amazing. So if you caught that move, you're trading, congratulations. If you're holding ICP, and I know a lot of people are still probably underwater. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to buy. I'm not telling you to sell. I'm just giving you numbers, or giving you, price points to the downside if you want to accumulate, and then to the upside, if you want to see how high it could potentially go and where some stops will be if it does start to go up to some of these levels. So like I said, part 2 of the ICP video will be more fundamentals, more techie, what's going on behind the scenes, how does the tech work, and I may get somebody on who knows a little bit more about it than me, but of course I can do research, and then I may use AI. I did something with Casper that fared very well, so I may use AI to talk about it, give me a nice little rundown, nice little synopsis. But of course, we'll continue to do our homework, do our due diligence. And while the market is kind of down in low, a down period or a low period, this is when I really start doing research. This is when I really start to hone in on what's going on, what's happening, and what I think could be, a pretty good investment in the long term. Of course, I'm pretty much focused on Bitcoin right now, but you'd have to, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I understand that Bitcoin is Bitcoin, but I'm also looking for other things that, I think can stand the test of time, because I think at some point technology will, be in the forefront in crypto, in blockchain. So I'm looking for strong projects that have good technology, a good team, a good community. You guys, the ICP community is huge. So I'm looking for stuff like that in order to start to put a little bit more focus on when it comes to altcoins. Even though the altcoins this cycle has been atrocious, it's not going to be off my radar. I'm not just going to be Bitcoin only. I'll be Bitcoin only for some things, like when it comes to saving, but when it comes to investing, when it comes to looking for new tech and new things to put my focus and my attention to, I'm looking for things like this. So like I said, we'll talk about that in a separate video, part 2 of the ICP video, which would be mostly fundamentals. And yeah, hopefully you took something from this. Like I said, somebody was talking about ICP, so I said I'll record a video, and then we can go from there. And then it's on my radar now. So if you are in the ICP community, make sure you comment down below. Let me know what's significant about ICP. What should I really start focusing on besides price? Because I know, a lot of times it's more to it than, than just number go up. So what should I really focus on when looking at ICP? Should I hold it as a long-term? Is it a long-term value asset, or is it something that, just probably won't be here for the next cycle, or what? Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm very intrigued to learn, because this was big on a lot of people's radar last cycle, and then it kind of fell below, or fell behind the curtains. But it's a whole history behind why that happened, and suppression, things like that. I know about that, but I definitely want to dive a little bit deeper. And thank you to the community for putting this back on my radar. And yeah, we'll continue to talk about it. So like I said, this is FD White. Make sure you like, subscribe. Appreciate if you made it this far. ICP community, I appreciate it if you do those comments for me, leave those comments for me, and give me some knowledge. Like on my channel, like I like to talk, but I also like to receive. I like to listen as well. So usually when people put things in my comments, I read the comments, and then if it's something knowledgeable, I'll read it, and then I'll go do my own due diligence, and then we can go from there. So it's give and take, give and take, give and take. So I appreciate it. I'll talk to you in a minute. Peace.